The 1 year.
Recording live from my heading stronghold in
fun.
Annapolis, Maryland, beyond. This is Recruiter Roundtable Season 3. Every episode is an open discussion for recruiters, headhunters, and talent pros, so feel free to participate or just sit back and listen as we bring you topics, discussion, tips, tricks, and more from both industry dinosaurs like Ernie Moreno and noobs alike. Please like and subscribe, and let's start with Recruiter Roundtable Season 3, number 43, Client Alignment, or what we wanted to call it, Knowing When to Fire a Client. Hello, Miss Kelly.
And we wanted stories from everybody who joins about if you've done it, why, what broke you? Because as my husband is of 30 years on Monday,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Has always told me it's a lot easier to keep a client than it is to find a new one. And
He said wife. Didn't he say wife?
Ernie, zip it, Ernie. Yeah, so it's a lot easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one, especially, now when it's been really difficult for some people. And so, Tom and I were talking, and, we just wanted to see what made you decide. We all have our stories. I mean, outside of the obvious where they don't pay you, like we know that. But what are some of the situations, Kale, Ernie, Steve, Anthony? I don't know if you've had to fire a client, but
I've got one right now. I'm on the fence. So they didn't pay their invoice on time. So their warranty is void. And they haven't fired the candidate, but they want us to start a search. And then now they've said they only want somebody who's trained locally. So no immigrants. And I'm like, your budget's not for that. Your contract's not for that. And I like the organization, and they, but I'm like, I think if I say, complete no warranty, go pound sound, you guys, I think it'll be the end of the relationship. But it's adding up, right? Like as soon as you add that to, hey, I don't want any immigrants, and I'm like, this country is built on immigrants. So yeah, and some of the best people I've ever headhunted are immigrants. So
don't you have laws there that they can't?
Oh, well, they phrased it trained here.
I see. What difference? I mean, I can see where maybe, if it's like a physician where they want somebody trained in a certain thing in the United States or whatever, and maybe that's not even valid. But that sounds pretty bogus.
So where are you leaning?
Where am I leaning?
Yeah,
I'm leaning
let him go right now off the top of your head.
I want to have it verbally either way, right? Like if you're gonna break up with somebody, you should have the guts to do it in person, right? I think it tastes it doesn't taste sweeter, but at least it's like, if you do it by email.
It's hard. I think it's hard to break up with a client. Would it be better if, if they paid you up front, if you're not already getting that, would that make it better?
Well, they're going to want a warranty replacement.
I see.
Even though they haven't fired the guy, and even though they didn't pay on time and their warranty is void. So I'm going to talk it out with them and say, hopefully we can come to some sort of agreement where we get 50% of the fee if we fill it or when we fill it, or I'm going to say if they can be reasonable on who they're looking for, right? And, get rid of that whole idea. So, what skills is the candidate lacking that you need for the next person? Let's concentrate on that, because this is horse manure.
You can talk them out of the immigrant thing. I bet you can.
Well, I think you should probably, first of all, let's get, go down and take it with topics. Topic number one, I haven't been paid.
No. Ernie, we got paid, but not on time.
You got paid, but it's not okay. So that's number one. I would say, well, I got paid, but it was not paid in time. So technically, I just want to inform you that you're not under warranty. So we'll talk about that, but let's clear these other things first.
Yeah.
And then you go into the criteria, because it kind of puts them in a position like, oh, we kind of screwed up. Yeah, you did.
Well,
And then they're nicer. And then they're a little nicer. Because right now they think they're the king of the queen of the parade, you know?
Yeah.
So you just put them in their place a little bit. And then from there, let's talk about this job search.
Yeah, and like Best Buy is not going to allow you to keep the TV and then go grab another one, right? Because they haven't fired the guy, right? Like, so like you got to return the TV. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand like they don't want to be down a person and stuff, but yeah. So I'm really torn. So yeah, because
Well, then it becomes not a priority search, right? Not an A search where you're going to have it like in the back burner. Shit, because you got your money, they still got them, and then your response is, "Well, I can't find anybody."
How big a client or important a client is it, Cale?
It's. I mean, to me, if you know, they've probably got over. I mean, I'll check on Zoom info, like kind of their head count and stuff, but they could definitely be a 3 placement a year client. Definitely a two placement a year client, right? So they're not tiny, but not like it's not going to make a big difference.
Are you dealing with the same person all the time, or is it just a different person?
So they have two plants. So the person who said they didn't want any immigrants is or anybody trained, not trained locally.
Is that what they use? That was a code word, not trained locally.
Yeah, and this person is either a son of an immigrant or like, so like I think I can call them on that and just be like, hey, that's a non-starter. If we present somebody qualified, you're interviewing, right? Like, and just say that's a full stop. What we're doing, and if there's a specific skill set or soft skills you need, we'll definitely work with that. As long as it's a business case, but yeah, it's.
How long has that person been at that company and at that plant, Cale?
Well over 2 months now.
No, not your candidate, the hiring manager.
The hiring manager is fresh. Yeah, so he moved from the larger operation to the new operation. So
how long with the company, roughly?
I haven't looked at that.
Okay, look at it. This is going to sound really weird. He's lucky to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was at Nestle, I had an HR finalist who withdrew after signing the letter, and within the first 45 seconds, he made a comment about those people on the manufacturing floor, and I had to get him. It took me half an hour to get him to repeat it worse. But he did, and I'm like, yeah, he goes, stay where you're at. Hey, I think that's a great idea, blah, blah, blah. And I went back to the hiring manager and said, we dodged a bullet and a lawsuit. And this guy, and I don't know how you would do it, because if he's new to the entire organization, because I dealt with an entertainment company out here, they spoke with my candidate, Kelly. They called me and said, I talked with him. I got my boss, Nick, to talk with him too. Kelly's coming in on Wednesday, and basically, as long as she doesn't come in with a lit bomb, we're going to hire her. And
of course.
And then that afternoon of the interview, they call me. Yeah, we don't. We need to see some more people. I'm like, why? And I asked. I said, oh, it's because she's black, isn't she? Isn't that it? That's your problem, right? And I called HR, and I called this guy's 3 levels up, and I said, I'm canceling my agreement.
Yep.
And I'm referring Kelly to an attorney, because I will not deal with this, and I don't think you guys need to be aware of what's going on in your organization.
Yep.
No, I mean, I think he's only first or second generation, right? So
yeah.
So he's it's I
bigots come from every walk.
Just-
No, but
Let it-
also it is the physician training thing, right? So I need to I don't want to make a bunch of work here first.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, this is super costly, and I need to sit down with the HR manager who wants a search to kick off and be like, hey, this is not on. We got to put some perimeters on it. You know, this is not on. This is not on. And so what's going to change? Because
Well, why are they
Contractually,
letting him go? Is it because he wasn't with the founding fathers of Canada, or what?
no, I do have one of the Campbell chairs from the founding fathers table. So I can speak from after stealing the country from the rightful owners. I can speak from a place of authority. Where am I going with this? Sorry, Ernie, what was your question?
Well, it sounds no matter which way you go, Cal, it sounds like you're really in tune with what you can say over the phone, what you're going to write in a text,
I think
and
we
face to
gotta-
face.
Yeah, we got to do a reset, right?
I would,
You know, I would go.
I would record conversations. I would do that just pause, and then if nothing comes from it and you don't need it, you can erase it.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
the thing is, I would. My opinion is, you don't change companies. They know what they got, and this isn't. I wouldn't say that this is the guy's first time. So don't go in there like you're going to change the world.
Yeah,
Correct.
And like, I wouldn't sue. I wouldn't do shit. I'd just say, you know what, I'm getting the fuck out of here, because I don't want to deal with this and pay me my money, because I had a friend he became the plant manager in a plant in Arkansas. The guy was black. He went into the Arkansas plant, held a team meeting, and the people on the floor told him, we ain't never had an end tell us what to do, and we ain't going to start now. And he dealt with it. And myself, having been, of the Hispanic race and ICE targeted, I've been in those situations where you could spot that shit. And those people are that's the way the organization is, and you're not going to change it. I was working in the poultry industry for 1 year, and it was the most shittiest experience I've ever had, especially being an uppity Mexican from California going to the South. 1 year was all I could do. I don't know how people could live like
With a law degree.
And you're looking at this stuff and you say, but you learn in life, you ain't going to change people.
Yeah.
The question is, do you want to be around those
Can
people?
you escalate it? Like, can you do what Alan talked about? And
well, I think he may be first generation.
I don't know if that's the best.
first generation idiot?
No, from he's a person of color, right? I believe the person who made this request, and so I mean, number one, it's sitting with me.
I want you to see this, guys, while you're talking about this.
Yeah, the
Look at this
contract
right
doesn't-
here.
Yeah.
Abraham claimed that Hyundai HR manager James Menzies told him to stop sending resumes from women and black candidates, and if he didn't, he would not be paid for past work, and Hyundai would terminate his contract. That recruiter won $9.5 million. Okay, so don't take this lightly. We don't, don't take discrimination like this lightly. It's one thing when they say, hey, we want someone who's 65, right? You can kind of walk that away, but this is the kind of stuff that they need to be bitch slapped.
No, and I've terminated completely, and I've said to a lawyer who came after me, I said, this client did not interview somebody, and they said it was because of their religion, and
oh God,
do you want me to present that person's name to you? Because before I do that, I got to call them up, right? Because I'm not disclosing this person's name, and I got to tell them why I'm presenting that name to you as a lawyer. And I'm like, yeah. So I've definitely, when it's been black and white, but even when it's veiled, and even when it's I don't want to be disrespectful, but if it's somebody who's a person of color, they can still be racist. I know a lot of my
I can tell you in situations like that, you just ask yourself, do I want to put myself in that position?
Yeah. I don't.
I mean, as a person that's probably been in that situation, I just said, screw it. I'll just get the freak out of here. I don't want any problems. But then that's how you live your whole life, man. It's not just a job. It's just going to the store,
But Ernie, is it worth it? If I heard Cale say it's a 2 to 3 person placement a year company.
Could be.
What I'm saying is that Cale, it's the real question here is, does Cale want to work with that company?
Well, no, exactly. But is it worth approaching the boss's boss or whoever the hiring managers, whoever said this, the manager's manager, and coming from, say, a positive perspective?
I've approached people.
Yeah.
It depends on his relationship with the president of the company.
Yeah, it does.
And if he has, I approached a company where I knew the president very well, and I told him, you have a guy that's flipping off his sales people who are people of color, and he happened to be the president of that little company of which this guy owned them. And he said, he did what? He goes, yeah, he's flipping them off. And I goes, and I had cleared it with the other guy, the guy that got flipped off. He goes, yeah, I'm the VP here, and he's flipping me off because he's drunker than shit at the bar. And he and his partner are like flipping me off with my salespeople who are all people of color. And he's the president of the company. I said, so do you mind if I bring it up over here? He goes, yeah, go ahead, I'll back it up. But he had left the company.
Doesn't it in the last analysis, doesn't it come down to probability, Cale? That if you raise an issue, fair or otherwise, I mean, there are things that we can do things about, there are things that we're hoping we can change and never will. Is it a possibility, there's a probability that if you bring up much of anything, that possible 2 to 3 position company may go down to butkus, 0?
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and it's the late payment. It's the fact they haven't terminated this guy, and then it's the fact that we get this. Like, it's one thing where you can work with one, you can maybe work with 2, but what breaks the camel's back, and you're going to see it again, right? Like people who pay on time, pay on time. Like I met with a client today, and they're like, "Oh, did you get your check?" And I'm like, "We got notification, from the bank. It's not in the mail. It's in the it's in the ETF, right?" So like, I'm like, "Yes, we'll do business with that one," but like contingency, and we need to impress it upon our clients right at the beginning. It's like, if we're going on a contingency search, I need to be paid on this day because I've got bills to pay. And the nice thing is I've got a team, and I say, we got 10 kids to feed here. Like, this is not me,
Cale, I'm gonna tell you, I was head of HR for a company, and they had a guy who worked at one of their distribution centers who had a reputation for just cussing out people. Real loyal to the company, but he had a reputation of just cussing out the shit out of everybody. So I talked to my boss, who I knew very well, and we were close. And I said, "Do you really want to run a company like that?" And he said no. So we let the guy go. He was a long-time employee. Okay, we let him go. Later on, I left the company. The other guy left the company, and what did the company do? They hired the guy back.
Oh.
But I mean, they hired him back because he was good at what he did. And that's when I get at, you can't change. You look back and you say, this guy, and there were people that say, well, yeah, he does cuss, but that's the way it goes. But I mean, brutal cussing, not just the little things, but that's why I say sometimes you can't control that. And if they know what they got, every company knows what the hell they got. And if their HR person isn't strong enough, or if their president doesn't want to have that attitude, it would get taken care of. But it's perfectly fine because you know what? The guy's bringing in some bucks, and that's what it's all about, ain't it?
Nick raised his hand.
Nick.
Kelly, how are you? So how do you foresee issues like this happening, and what procedure what the proper procedure to take when this stuff, situations like this happen. I myself, I don't know, I don't think too many recruiters do it, but I'm more hands-on, and I want to go to the facility and talk to the people, talk to the surround, visualize where this person's going to sit. So I kind of get a better feel of situations like this, to protect my ass. Oh, sorry. And we're working for the candidate too, so it has to gel, right?
Well, I think so when things start to make themselves evident, Tom was going to share a list of things that we came up with, but none of that really matters if they're not paying your bill, or they're not treating you right, or they're not treating, I don't know if you can say your candidate, but after a while, none of that matters. To
that fact too, without being too abrasive, getting that message out that, hey, I'm not playing around. This is a business. You have a date. I have a date. I'm giving you what you want. You have to give me what I want.
Well, and that, that starts with a good contract, right?
Yeah.
So it starts with a good contract so that you have it spelled out. Not that that's a be all end all, but that's a good start in making sure that they understand that they're contractually obligated to give you feedback on candidates they interview within 48 hours. Whatever, that's just an example. But, if they're not meeting their obligations, or if they just turn out to be, you're spending way more time on them than they're worth, and it becomes a bad business, endeavor, then you're firing off everybody, a very, in not so uncertain terms, this partnership isn't working out for me. Adios.
It's kind of like in any company you deal with, you gotta feel good about placing somebody there.
Right.
The only reason you would place somebody there with a company that you weren't happy with is because the candidate so desperately needs to get to that location. My mom is very sick. I don't care if they cuss. I don't care if they file lawsuits. I need to get there like tomorrow. So if you can get me in there, you're great. But you do a heads up with them. But the question is, if you don't feel great about a company, then it would be one of my signals to say they're not my A-type company to go to.
Right.
And when I recruit for them further, there's two things. Is one, what do I tell the candidate? Because you don't want the candidate to say, what the hell did you get me into?
Right.
And secondly, am I going to get paid? And if I feel that way, then I don't want to play with you. I got to feel really good about, the things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, do you have to do a replacement? No. Will there be a possible pushback? Yes. Will they not give you any more business? But they're not a big client to you. So I would just say, as a member of the founding family of Canada, that I don't want to work with you.
Ralph?
Yeah. So, Kel, question: How long has that been your client?
It's a recent client. Yeah.
Okay. The only reason I'm kind of thinking what Alan was saying, I'm thinking on the other side, like that person should have said that, but when you mentioned they were a person of color, I'm wondering if they're deterring you not because of just their bias. They might be trying to avoid any further discrimination by an incoming person. Could be. So maybe a conversation would be good to just kind of uncover if it's just him or it's more. And if it's more, then you kind of know how to go moving forward.
That's
I
a
kind of
great
thought about
point.
that. Yeah,
That's a
kind of
great
thought about it.
Yeah, and
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
it's a tough kind of like tough dance, because like if they were like, oh yeah, like we're looking at doing this search, and like there's a fee out here, but we're talking about doing the work again. And like to me, like I mean, this isn't like a 35% retained search where it's like, oh yeah, we got lots in the bank and reserves. Like you see the money flying out of my account, and it's sickening, right? Like I almost get like pains just thinking about how much money's been spent over the last 30 days, right? So You know, I hate to turn to the contract and say to the client, like, you didn't pay on time, you haven't terminated, but I'm pointing out at 2 clauses. I just pulled it up as we were talking. So there's 2 clauses. You got to terminate the guy. Like, there's nowhere it just says if you.
No, they haven't fired him yet, and they still want you to replace him. No.
So what you do is you don't do shit. You just say, yeah, let me look for somebody and keep it going. Pretty soon, 6 months. Fuck, it's been 6 months. You know, like no,
Warranty's over.
You know.
And besides, you don't owe them a refund anyway. They violated the warranty.
Yeah.
And look, and also, that's leverage against this argument to find out what's really going on. To what Ralph said.
Yeah.
Here, I'll make you a deal. Give me the guy's name and number. I'll call him.
Hey guys, do you guys want to go over real quick the 7 things that Kelly put together of why we fire clients?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean to break up that thing, but this might, because this really did start a great conversation. But there are a lot of other reasons why we fire them too. So
I'm just doing my piece because I like to see Kale's expression. He's got like, oh, why did I get myself into this mess?
You don't know.
Okay.
You don't know.
Because we're streaming on Facebook, I can't do the presentations like I usually do. So you're just going to see how I do them. Right. So this is Kelly's top reasons to fire a client. And then we're going to go to number 1, financial issues, right? So chronic late payment, that's what made me think of this, right? Kale, constantly paying invoices late or not at all, demanding services below market rate, and it's not a profitable use of your time. Time resources spent exceeds the revenue generated, right? So this is a lot of what we talk about when, I wish Rich Rosen would have showed up about firing a client, is, right, get a better client. And we only want to work at 20%. We only want to work at 18%. We want a 90-day guarantee or a 180-day guarantee or money back guarantee, right? Or whatever it is, right? So I know a lot of us struggle sometimes to get clients. If you're new, you want to work on anything. And hey, I'll be the first to say I worked on a lot of junk when I started, but once you get your feet under you and you can get better clients, fire those bad clients. There's no reason to be working at 18%. And you could tell them, hey, everybody else is paying me 25. I can't work at 18 anymore. If you want to go up to 25, we can. If not, I'll give you the, Alan's number, Nick's number, and Tony's number. Right. And then we want.
But also what Rich Rosen says, which stuck with me, we're not social workers. So if somebody is treating you bad, you don't have an obligation. I mean, even if you need business, your time would be better spent finding a better client than sticking with this.
100%. 100%. Behavioral problems. Disrespectful or abusive behavior, that's a no-go for me. Like immediately that happens, they can go F themselves. Unreasonable demands, expecting 24/7 availability, immediate response, like calling you on the weekends. Like, I don't mind if there's an issue, I get a call, right? No problem. Or I work a lot of stuff in California and mountain time, right? So I sometimes have to take calls at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I had a screen a candidate who says, can you call me at 5:30? Or 6 o'clock, right? That was 9 o'clock, right? I had dinner with the wife, went into my office and screened a candidate, right? And Rich is here. So Rich, and I probably should have tagged you. One of the things we're talking about is when to fire a client and how you do it, when you do it, why you do it. Pulled a presentation up, but we had a great discussion earlier. Kale was having an issue with some racial issues, and we shared the Hyundai thing, and we're going through these really quick. Behavioral problems too. They micromanage you, accept oversight, boundary violations, contact you in appropriate times through personal channels, right? I've not really had the contact you in appropriate time on the client side, maybe on the candidate side, but not on the client side. Professional conflicts, scope creep without compensation. I don't know what that means. Kelly, I'm terminally stupid, so you need to expand on that. Don't follow your process.
They're just more demanding. They add more to the source than originally.
Oh yeah, we decided he has to have his PhD now, right?
Right.
And then we decided
it's a whole different job order that you're working on.
Misaligned value and ethics. That's exactly what we're talking about with Kale. Unrealistic expectations, right? I mean, that's a lot of what our clients, they expect caviar on a tuna fish budget. We see that so often, right? Dominic and I have talked about this before, well, all the other crews we work with at 18%, why the fuck did you call me then? Like, they all want to think like, oh, well, we'll call Rich, we'll call Tom, we'll call Nick, we'll call Alan, and they'll do it for the same price and we'll get better results. Like, what the hell is that? That doesn't even work in the business world, right?
This exact thing came up in my class on Thursday, where
Yeah,
they're like,
please, go ahead.
hey, you know, what should I do with this client? I'm like, it's not a client. That's a complete waste of time. It's like, you know, they're charging a minimal fees. They wanted like a cash refund. Like, I'm like, why would you ever give a cash refund?
Never.
Ever. Never. I mean, it just like if you unless you want to be one of these British recruiters that are just desperate for work,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. Like the 20% is like the bare minimum. Anything below that is generally garbage. And the closer you are to 20%, the bigger the pain in the ass the client's going to be.
Right.
You can bet your house on it. And if they,
I would say flat fee is a way to go. If they're like that, then discuss a flat fee. So that way, at least you can sell to them. I'm not going to go and worry about salaries, right? I know maybe you're thinking I'm going to only bring a guys making 100 instead of guys making 80. We'll call it a flat fee of 20 grand. It doesn't matter what the worst person's making. If I bring them in at 120, I get through it. If I bring them in at 90, I win.
Yeah, but you should set whatever your fee is. You should set a minimum fee. Like, don't go in there with some stupid 15K fee. I mean, personally, anything under 25 is generally not worth your time, in my opinion. And so if you're going to go with flat fee, great. You can just start off saying, hey, listen, my minimum fee is 25 grand. That pretty much fits your budget anyway. And I don't get the sense you're paying a penny over. So let's find the best of the worst and see what we can do for you. I mean,
yeah, I agree 100%. I said my minimum fee is 20. I'm cheap.
Yeah. One thing, I'm sorry, Ellen, I'll let you talk about it. One thing I don't want to forget here is I've heard Tom say, this is my fee. There's an engagement fee, but the engagement fee is meant for sourcing, not for necessarily doing the rest of the work. So therefore, that's not refundable.
Yeah,
and I just want you to
And the
understand that.
Never
engagement fee
refundable.
is
But
not
I
only
like
for
that. I like that two-tier approach.
Yeah, and just remember, if you ever have a fall off and it's a refundable deal, that engagement fee does not come back. Like if it's a $37,000 fee and you got a $7,000 engagement fee, and for some reason you have to refund the money, which you never should. You keep that.
They get 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Ernie, it's not only for sourcing; it's to keep them honest. It's to make them accountable. Because I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that right now, even in my industry.
Yeah, that was the original. That's the original reason why.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
But
It's to
honestly,
hold them accountable.
You just tell the client that. You just tell them, listen, this is why I charge it. And it's like, it's really, I mean, I tell the client, listen, I got two fees, 30% for those that aren't serious, 25% that are serious. And that one comes with an engagement fee. It's normally 10 grand. I honestly don't even care how much the engagement is. That'll negotiate. It's just to show that you're serious.
Yeah.
No, Rich, that piece of language that you have in your agreement is fucking amazing.
Thank you.
What is the language?
And because I was just looking at it the other day, because I was going to send it to a new client. It was, let's say it's at 25%. If they don't pay, what was it, Rich? But if they don't pay by this,
so the fee is listed fully at 30% for everything, even if they pay the engagement fee. But with the engagement fee, it is discounted to 25. It's discounted to 25%. But then if they do not pay on time or they void the warranty in any number of ways, it resets back to the 30%. The discount is waived or voided.
That's awesome.
So if you ever have to sue, and you have to put this on the invoice as well, you can now sue for 30%, not 25%, which could be a big difference. And on your invoice, though, which is really the important part, you have to invoice it at 30% with the discount on the invoice.
Right.
Then you have recourse. Otherwise,
that is fantastic.
I love that
one. That's fantastic.
And here's the other piece that you have, Rich. They have to give you the offer letter by this certain date.
Yep.
And if they don't, which all clients don't give you by that.
No one ever
What's the offer letter? What's the offer letter one?
Well, it says if you don't give me the offer letter within 5 days of signature, it voids the warranty. Because
Nice.
no one ever.
And they probably don't even read that.
No. I mean, they just see the fee and then they sign. But it's in paragraph 2 or 3 or 4, one or the other. But it's a very short contract, but it's extraordinarily well done, I thought.
Are you willing to share it? Is the
Yeah,
question?
yeah. I'm happy. Tom, do you have it?
Yeah.
No. Oh, Don does. Oh, I thought you said me.
Yeah, you can share it.
But sure, if you want it, I'll put my email in the.
The more you share it, I'll make it a Google Doc, and that way everybody can.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the more people that use the same agreement, the easier to negotiate, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? If we were all using Rich's agreement, all of us, all the time, it spreads, and then we don't have to deal with 18, 12, whatever bullshit percent, and we also be working on engagement.
And say, hey, this is like don't tell me this is the standard. I've got 20 other recruiters using the same agreements.
Yeah.
You know?
But the other thing I wanted to add to that is also notice the attitude of Rich. It's like confidence. You know, Tom, they got confidence, and I'm saying this to everybody. Just how you say it is equally as important as what's written.
It's even more important how you say anything. Like I can say, Ernie, you're such an asshole, you know, but you don't get offended by it because it's a little chuckle, right? If I say, Ernie, you're a fucking asshole, you know, I mean, then you get a little more annoyed, right? I mean, Ernie's not an asshole. But it's everything is about tone and, you know, how you say it. Like, I mean, I talk to my clients just like I talk in this room. And it's just real. I literally just had this. My son's middle of interviewing for internship. So if anyone needs an intern, let me know. But I tell them the same thing. I'm like, stop writing your cover letter, which these stupid people still want to write, like a robot. You know, write it like you are. This is who you are, right? Write it so it sounds like you. And I mean, that's how you should do everything. And like I use this example all the time. Like my neighbors are all like big time executives, like people you'd know. And you know what? They walk around picking up dog shit like the rest of us. You know, doesn't matter.
That we're all humans, and that's the thing. Like early on, never say sir. Don't call them Mr. Right? You are an equal. Every single I don't care how much money they're making, what title they have. You are an equal to them. You have to treat them like an equal. And if they don't want to treat you like an equal, this goes to that bad client. That's where you fire them.
And I flip it around the other side to even say, this will sound obnoxious, but it's not meant to be. But if you do this job right, you make way more money than most of your clients, most of your hiring managers. All right. So technically, your time is more valuable than theirs. All right. So you should act like it. And, you know, listen, I have complete fear of failure. All right. I am super confident in that I don't want to waste my fucking time. That's about all I'm confident. All right. So other than that, I'm as nervous as everyone else, but you can't show it. I mean, no one wants a nervous doctor. No one wants a nervous sales guy. No one wants to give you a retainer if you're like, oh my God, I'm pretty sure I can get it done. Pay me and I think I can do it. I'm pretty sure. I can definitely do it. Right.
I don't know if that heart operation is going to go well. Hell, I don't know.
That goes to what we were talking about yesterday too, about how when you people like, I don't want to sell retainer because what happens if they say no? And the transition, it's the transition. It is the confidence of, well, you know what, Rich, I really think there's an alignment with our company. I really think there is. And this one time we're going to do this on a contingency, but treat it like an engaged search. And all that I ask is next time we work engaged.
Yeah.
That's how you go when you can't sell retainer, when you're new and you're out there and you're pushing. And I hate retainer. I like because retainer talks is like Shrek firms, right? Hydrick, Korn Ferry, Russell Reynolds, like third to third to third. So that's why we talk engagement fee because it's what they know more of. $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, right? So and if they don't want it, then you roll it into I just want to have a relationship with you. Give me a chance, and then we'll work engaged. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you can use Korn Ferry and Hydrick's agreements against them. Mm-hmm. I used to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
Also,
that's why you want to differentiate yourself from that. That's why you want to stay engaged, not retained.
Well, right. I get that. But you can also say, look, you want to use retainer engaged. The one thing you can do is you can say, look, here's the deal. I'm 33 1/3. Great. But you want to know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to charge you 100 expenses, like $125 for a secretary to go get a piece of paper and walk it over to me, blah, blah, blah. And, back when I was doing also something Rich said when he was talking about his agreements, heads up for me being share here when I was internal, the agreements told me a lot. I'd say, send me your agreement. We're probably going to have to use ours, but send me your agreement. It told me a lot about them. It told me a lot about that recruiter and about that agency. How, was it a lawyer that wrote up a 7-page, quote unquote, bulletproof, we're gods and you're going to sign this or else kind of thing? And it's like, okay, well, we're not going to use this. You can use, we're using ours, blue and blah, and here, go back. Here's where my problem, here's where the issues are, blah, blah. And if they're like, oh, I'll have to talk to the CFO. Oh, I'll have to talk to Rich. I'll have to talk to Dom. It's like, okay, no, I don't want to work with this. This is going to be too much trouble. You can use that as a recruiter to judge how mature, experienced your new client person is. When they start asking you questions, what questions do they ask? And the other thing Rich mentioned, is I'm curious from everybody, is he mentioned the UK agencies. I've heard from a couple people, the UK agencies are coming in at 5 or 10% in the UK.
Oh, it's
so they're
insane.
they're spray and pray in America, and if they get 15%, to them they're ahead of the game. Is that what everybody else has heard? Because that's what I've heard.
There's two of them specifically.
Yeah, I was just talking to a UK recruiter today, a guy I know, he's actually not a bad recruiter, but he's in the UK, and I said the same thing because he's going to help me with the search in Germany also, which if anyone's got reps in Germany, which I don't really think they even exist at this point for what I need. But this guy was doing like $15,000 flat fees per month, and he would fill like 1 or 2 searches a month. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. And then he's like, well, no, because it takes 4 months to get these searches filled for these kind of roles he was doing, like HV1 engineer kind of things, whoever it was over there. And I'm like, I don't know. It still seems pretty shitty to me for an engineer to do, make 60 grand for 2 placements. It's not bad.
It's crazy over there because they have these employment agreements. You can't be fired. You can't quit. Right? There's no such thing as a 2 weeks notice. Like when you accept the job, then if you want to leave, it's a whole fucking rigmarole.
Germany's 3 months. 3 months notice they have to give.
Yeah.
Rich, when do you fire a client?
I fire clients way too often, probably.
Besides not getting paid or whatever the obvious, what?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm about to fire one now. I just sent him a note this morning actually saying, hey, listen, this has been a fantastically one-sided relationship. I'm assuming all these things are on hold since your feedback has been nil. On candidates, you've got like 5 candidates in the queue for 3 different roles. And, at this point, I'm going to have to send them out to other companies, which I already did anyway. But this is the problem. It was a contingent search, which I should not have worked, which I didn't really work. I actually gave it to other recruiters to give me candidates for. And so everyone spent a little time on it. We sent some candidates in. We got some people that are, I think, are at the final step. As much as I do right now. So, so this is what I sent to the CRO and the head of their idiot head of TA, and I'm like, you guys want it cheap. So I'm like, it's like halfway through, I just started sending resumes, no write-ups, no even AI generated write-up. I'm like, you guys want it cheap, so here we go. I'm like, it's not how I like to work. I don't understand how you guys want to work. We had a great intake call, so I'm really confused. All the candidates I've sent thus far, they're being interviewed and moving through the process, and there's absolute no communication. I'm like, you are ruining your brand. You're ruining my brand. There's just
high maintenance, low reward.
It's a shitty fee. There's 3 recruiters working on it, and it is the epitome of a bad client. Even the best part is the HR lady, when you send a resume in, she doesn't talk to the candidate, doesn't ask me when they're free. She literally just sends an invite out and says Thursday at 2:00. And it's just
Lack of respect.
They think they're active candidates, like they're used to dealing with, and it's funny. I'm listening to Rich say this, and Kelly asks, when do you fire clients, right? So all of us probably, Rich says he fires too many. I would say we all wait too long, right? Because we know there's a chance, right? He sent him 3 or 5 people. If he makes one deal for $25,000, it was worth the fucking headache. And then you fire him. And
don't get me wrong. There's firing and there's just letting die. I rarely do I tell a client to go screw themselves, right? But I do tell them this is a kind of a waste of my time. I was like, trip over people, I'll send them over to you. I'm probably not going to even talk to them, but let me know, when you hire them. We're still.
That's kind of what I say is like, if we stumble across someone in other searches, I'll send them to you, but we can no longer spend any time on this, or we just can't do this search. I'll say those things.
And which is really what you should do. Like when I say fire, it's not like I'm a big jerk and it's just going to, tell this guy what a yes he is. Like I have a buddy right before I got on this call. He sent an email to the other software. He said he BCC'd me on the email, and he basically you got an obnoxious response back from the head of TA for this company. And my buddy responds, instead of just being, okay, nice. He's an old-time recruiter too. He's a good recruiter. He just wrote back. He's like, you just put a target on every one of your employees' backs on your company. So he, like, if you guys think I'm aggressive, my other buddy takes the cake. He is the original plot star, you know, but he is also 66 and doesn't give a shit. So
there's some old school recruiters who were like that, man. There was a guy in Tampa that I knew who would just rake you over the fucking coals. The clients would be like, yeah, he filled our position, but man, I'm exhausted after the search, right? He was just such an asshole. He wanted control of everything. He made everything had to be in his control, and he would rake the clients over the coal. They would take one placement with him, and they'd say, yeah, he filled it, but I don't want to work with him anymore because it was so tedious.
But you know what? There's certain guys that can pull it off where they're just like, you know, they can just make
like
it.
Richie?
Yeah, Richie Harris. Yeah. Like there's guys like that can really pull it off. Like for me, listen, I want to like my clients. I want them to like me. And I literally just talked about this in DSP's podcast, literally at noon. And, you know, the reason I don't get burnt out usually is because I like my clients 99% of the time, 90% of the time. You know, we got a few surprises here and there, but, you know, generally I like the guys I work for, so I feel good about what I'm doing. Once I don't feel good about it, that's generally when it's time to fire them or just, you know, slowly part ways.
I've drank with mine at the dinner, played golf, went fishing. I mean, that's kind of the clients I have. It are people that I like to do stuff with, right? And that makes you feel good, and you'll put up with a little more, right? When they're that nice and that good, you'll put up with
they're generally giving you the reasons why they're doing something that appears to be really stupid. You know, it's like, I mean, if anyone reads my stuff on LinkedIn, it's all client stories and how dumb they are, you know, but it's, you know, but it makes it fun. Some of them don't even realize it's them until they call me and I tell it was them, you know, but the ones you like, they get it. They laugh. They're like, oh, that was really dumb. You're right. Others are like, go fuck yourself. You know, either way, it's okay. Because what am I going to lose? Another headache? Okay. I mean, and that's where you have to look at it.
The majority of the bad clients, like the situations we're talking about, right? They usually were either TA or HR, you know, or the CEO, right? But the middle manager who had permission to hire people, I get along, you know, the vice president, the director, I've always gotten great along with them. It always seems like the push would either be like a CEO, right? Or HRTA. Those are the ones that end up, they don't value your time.
In my space, the CEO and the head of sales are usually the best people to work with. The middle managers, the guy's like, oh, I'm too busy for this. You know, he thinks he's important. You know, you're not important. Your yearly salary is my best month is like a month's income. I'm like, you're not really important. So, I mean, and honestly, sometimes you say stuff like that to just give them a little slap. Sometimes they laugh, sometimes they cry, sometimes they hate you even more. Again, you have nothing to lose when you're dealing with someone who doesn't want to work with you anyway. You're better off not doing it.
Right.
You know? So, you know, and it's, listen, it doesn't mean you have to sound like a jerk. You just have to say it with a little fun, a little levity. And listen, I'm just trying to help you out, man. If you don't want my help, fantastic. I got 1,000 things to do, you know, and depending on what you're placing, like I play sales guys, so they should appreciate the approach anyway. And if they don't, then they've got bigger problems. So, you know, but that you really have to have the mind.
We're trying to help you. We're like your savior, and you're being a dick to me. I'm trying to help you staff your company, which you can't do on your own, and now you're being a dick. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah.
And then Anthony.
How many times does an agency do something like that to a client? A lot less than we all think. So it's unusual when you do it, and when you do it, and you do it.
Very good point.
You know, how often when you say, even, I mean, and that's why I totally agree with Rich, do it professionally, do it with a little bit of sense of humor, do it with this, go, guys, you know, I mean, we're trying to work here, and I'm just trying to help you, but you know, I got 3 other people calling me. You guys said you wanted to do this. Let's do this. But if not,
you know,
even sending an email, even sending an email out saying, "Hey, listen, guys, it's been 3 days. I haven't heard back from you, so I got to send Billy to
Sent it yesterday and got a response immediately.
Yeah. But the thing is, it depends on where you are within the totem pole of your own company.
No, but it's a mindset. It doesn't matter.
No. I understand that, but I mean, say you tell your client, "Hey, I let you go," and then you got the owner of an agency that you work for.
But you're not telling them you're going to let him go. I mean, and you can, and your owner should support you anyway.
Oh yeah, but you should. But I mean, I'm saying sometimes the whole thing here is confidence.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you may be working for somebody who's they're your reason for you lacking confidence because of.
Fair enough. If that's the case, then if you're going to fire your client and you got to report to a boss, then you should run it by your boss first, and he should say, "Good for you." And
if he doesn't say "good for you,"
yeah, well, then go start your own business. I mean, good for you. So
I guess I'm just saying that for people that are listening to say, "It's easy for you to say because you run your own business."
Because the boss I work for is taking my money too. So I'm like, this was good for me. I'm like, you know what? If you're good at this, you're good at this. But everything is a mindset. This whole business is all mindset. As I think I've said this to Dom and Tom before. I'm like, we're all just playing fantasy football for a living. We're throwing the players on the board, and we hope the coach likes him. We hope the coach is going to actually play him. We hope that no one gets hurt. And that's all we're doing. So it's really hard to do that for people you don't like, or even worse for people that don't really appreciate or like you. And the sooner you tell people what you're going to accept, the better, because you will get treated to the way you're accepting. If you let people walk all over you, then that's what they're going to do. If you tell them it's okay for them to miss the phone call with you that they scheduled, so you wasted an hour of your day or half an hour in your calendar, you know what? Then they're going to think it's okay. So you run a business, and I think most recruiters forget they are running a business. All right? It's not charity. It's not social work. It's a fucking hard job to run.
Yes.
And you need to act as such. So
it's got the fee agreement from Rich in the chat. It's a Google Doc that's public, so have at it.
There you go.
Thank you.
Is AK still on this call? AK had 4 hires this week.
Yeah,
He left.
He fucking killed it this week.
Good for him, man. That's fucking awesome. That is awesome.
The older you get, the less shit you take. That is absolutely true.
When you're engaged, and if you're going to have to fire a client, what do you do in that situation? Are you giving money back, or are you saying, well,
there's no money back. There's no refund.
Yeah.
I mean, again, when I say fire, I don't mean a confrontational fire. Usually, it happens, but not usually. It's more like, hey, it seems like this isn't working for either of us, right? I mean, the end of the day is, my agreement. I used to have a minimum number of candidates that I had to submit, and then if I didn't meet that, they'd get a refund.
That's my used to say that too.
Yeah. It would be, if I don't find 3 people in 4 candidates or whatever, whatever, right? Which is still a great line to make companies feel good, because if you can't find 2, there's a big problem anyway, and you're going to know that in a week. I mean, I think we all know if you don't have the proper candidate in 2 weeks of that search starting, you're probably not filling it. For most searches, at least in my
welcome to my world, Rich Rosen.
Rich, I would imagine that there have been quite a number of times where you've basically had the conversation with them that they come back and say, whoa, wait a minute. And you turn out to make the placements, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, when you make them aware of what's going on, it's like, hey, listen, this isn't working, for sure. But then it's the decision, and I got to go 1 minute. But then there's the decision of, do I want to work with this client? I mean, I will give companies a second chance, but once it happens again, I just disappear, or I just, hey, listen, I got new agreements that came in, and I got to run.
Okay, Rich, when they void their warranty, what's your approach? It's like this business, like you voided your warranty, you want to do a new search?
It all depends, on the client, right? If it's a repeat client that I love, I'll bend over backwards. I don't really care.
Yeah, you're like you paid late. That's okay. We'll move ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. But if they're a mediocre client, it's like you're going to have to pay at least 50%.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's so I just do engagement. I don't do retain. The engagement is just like, 10 grand up front.
Yeah.
So I don't ever deal with the 50-50 thing. And I hate payments that do that. There's no reason my payment should get extended unless it's going to cost them more money. I'm not in the business of giving a free loan out. So I don't know why they need to pay it. And if I get a little nervous that financially they're that unstable, if anytime a company's ever done like the 50-50 deal, it's ended poorly.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just in the case where the client hasn't fired the guy and they paid late but they want a replacement. And I'm like, guys, this is not on. That's been,
yeah. I mean, like, how late did they pay, and how old a client are they?
it was over 30 days late.
Ooh, over 30 days late. Yeah. I would be like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to need a big chunk of that up front at the very best. And again, everything depends. There's so many variants. Like, was there a real reason? Are they a past client? This was just a mistake. Was it are they having financial issues? I mean, you got to dig into what the problem was. Like, I had a similar, and I got to hop on it in a second, but I had a similar problem not too long ago. I'm happy to talk to you offline about it was similar, and I just renewed with this client like 2 years later. But it's a whole another story. But any event, listen, I'm happy to help whoever needs help, and have a great weekend, guys. See you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Rich.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
So
Did we finish Kelly's list?
We did not. I can go to that last page.
You don't have
I
to.
brought that up because where is it? I tried to make this in Gamma. I don't have any credits left on Gamma. They want me to pay money. I don't want to pay money.
Kale went to go talk to Rich right now.
That's it.
So let's see where it is here. So we can jump back up here. Entire screen. And this one here. So the last page here, she had strategic reasons no longer fit your business model, prevents growth, damages your reputation, high maintenance, low reward, right? So no longer fit your business model. I mean, that's a great example of you have a client you started with at 18% contingency, and you've pretty much, converted all your other clients to 25%, $5,000 up front. And it comes to a time where maybe they were there to help you, but it just doesn't work anymore. And you may feel guilty, but at the end, chances are they'll convert, especially if you were successful for them. Prevents growth, right? Again, this goes back to you're spending way too much on searches you can't fill because it's like somebody said, yeah, we'll work with you. The agreement will 30%. And you're taking up a lot of time and can't find candidates, or they're not interviewing. Like Rich was saying, you send them in, you don't hear anything. HR just sends out a calendar invite. Those are frustrating. Damages your reputation. I guess doing a search for a company with a bad rep, and you may not know that going in. And as Ernie had said, there might be a candidate that says, I got to move to Chicago if I want to see my wife. She's on work release. So you're willing to, make that one-off with that company you would never work with before, like I did with Metal Sales. But in general, you don't want to be recruiting for a company with a bad reputation because the word will get out. Oh, yeah, well, Tom will call you all the time about Metal Sales, and Metal Sales sucks. So if Tom's calling, he's just calling because he's got a job with Metal Sales, right? You don't want that reputation, High maintenance, low reward. Again, back to they waste your time. You spend all this time and you're not getting rewarded for it, right? I had a client that fired people twice, 89 days into the 90-day agreement. Twice, right? So those are things that will drive you absolutely insane. One time, fine, it was an accident. Second time, you know what was going on, right? And that's a client you fire.
Did you fire him?
Oh yeah. Engler out of New Jersey, Perth Amboy.
Don't a lot of these things in your opening conversation, if you're taking the job order, a lot of these things you can find out beforehand to see if it's something that you want to actually go after or not. Like, well, Tom, we'd like to see 20 people. We like to have 17 interviews each on them. and then my mother's got to see if they like them or not.
And you run. But I think what happens, Tony, is for younger recruiters, for newer people who just started in this business, right? They get in, they've been cold calling, they've been emailing, they've been pounding the phones, and finally someone's willing to talk to them, right? And I will say this, and this is a very hard balance, really, right? But sometimes a bad client, a bad job order, if that's all you got, is something to work on to help you develop skills, right? So let's just say, I'll go back to when I started. My first placement was a contingency paint search with a commercial division of Sherwin-Williams, right? Now, I never placed another guy, but it gave me a lot of experience, and I got a fee and everything. But I was also working on some like tech, the company called Tech Coatings out of Chicago for paint chemists. But I was getting my feet wet, right? I was cutting my teeth on how to recruit on these jobs. So at least I had a job to recruit on, and hey, maybe I'd make a placement. So it gave me experience that I didn't have. So don't take me saying like you got to fire all your bad clients, and if they want 21 interviews, you can kind of look and say, I don't got anything else to work on. I got some MPC marketing. At least if I work on this, A, I may fill the position, and then B, it's going to help me become a better recruiter because I'm going to have to overcome objections when I'm recruiting candidates for this. Does this make sense what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
So when you're starting out, you will get bad clients, right? You will take on shitty searches, but
Well,
that's just how this is.
I mean, Rich, look at Rich. He just did that. He took on a bad client. It's like, really? You could have you probably have tons of stuff. So I wanted to ask him, why would you take a contingent client that's at all?
Thought it might be an easy fill, had some recruiters willing to work on it, right? Had some candidates sitting there that he couldn't.
Yeah.
We often talk about, I'll never do anything for less than 20 grand, right? My base fee. However, if I have a candidate that I can't place anywhere else, Lisa Reimer, I could not place her anywhere else. I placed her in Houston with Cornerstone Building Brands for like a $16,000 fee. I should have gotten like 24 for her, right? But hey, I couldn't place her anywhere else. She only wanted to be in Houston. She only wanted to work in that industry, and no one else wanted to hire her. So what? Do I not take the 16,000?
And one of the keys that Rich said is he's already sent those candidates to other people, right? So take on the mediocre clients when it's like it's in your niche. There's other clients working on them. So like we've got top echelon split network, and my team says, hey, should I just go in and find some jobs? I'm like, no, only find the jobs that are in the right range, right? Where the salaries are in the range you want to bill for. And when you get a candidate, sure, submit them for the split, but then you MPC them out at the same time, right? So I think that was key in what Rich he took on the search, but it wasn't an exclusive search, right? So like he sent them on to other people.
Yeah.
But Kale, you're absolutely right. But when you have like an engagement fee, you still should MPC them.
No. I tell my clients specifically, you have a first refusal. If they say to me, no, we don't want this person, then absolutely. But that's one of the selling points.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that once they say like we don't want them or whatever,
exactly.
You shouldn't just say, well, go to the side and that's it. That's over. They become a product to MPC.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
And also to get even your leftover candidates, like putting them into the network that we have, the TE. I just put people in there. And they want to talk to them. They're there.
Have you made any splits this year, Bernie?
Nope. But I haven't made any splits, but I haven't been working it. I've been doing my own jobs. But I do put in people in there, and I have gotten some people that have called me and said, hey, I want to talk to this person. Fine, go for it. Yeah. The whole goal is just to have it on the side so that I'm not working any of that stuff. And just
I'd like to make at least a handful of placements a year to keep it up.
But the real thing too is when you're doing the network is to also make relationships with other recruiters, because then they turn around and tell you, I'm not putting it on the network, but I'm calling you and saying this is a position that I'm working on, because they get to choose what they want to put on the network. It's not like every job goes on the network.
Yeah. I want to close so we can go double secret probation, right? Because have somebody have a closing statement about firing clients, right? I have one, but if someone else has one, they can throw it out there.
I
Anyone?
want to say it's like you don't fire a client, but what I kind of learned was it's kind of like breaking up, but you remain friends.
It's not me, but you. Steve
Yeah, but
Jenkins, do you have a closing statement?
You know, I would just say in regards to firing clients or working with not so great entities, that isn't it, at least for me, isn't it interesting when you are talking to a supposed client and they say something like, well, I really haven't had that much luck with recruiters. So you ask them, well, explain to me what happened. How almost like 9 times out of 10, after you've been in this business for a little while, you're thinking, wait a minute, that wasn't the recruiter. That was you. And so I think we do, like we all have agreed at one point or another, you start stacking up the evidence and you think, okay, that was a red flag, or at least a pink flag.
Hey, I mean, there are a lot of I can go back and look at all the bad clients I had and know I should have fired them earlier, and fired's the wrong word. It was my mistake. 99% of the time, it's my mistake. I saw the pink flag, I saw the red flag, I knew what was going on. And
well, I'll give you go to secret. I'll give you an example.
And yeah, perfect. So we're gonna go to secret double page here. So that is a wrap, guys. When you're hiring clients, think about it. It's not actually firing them. It's, you know, just saying, hey, I can't work with you anymore based on the current situation, but I'm sure there's another recruiter out there that can do that. And that is a wrap on today's Recruiter Roundtable. Thank you all for to attend and participate today. And those that watch the replays later, we truly appreciate it for being part of our. You can help us tremendously by hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, and sharing the roundtable everywhere you can. Check out our sibling shows, SKNR Live, 5 p.m. Tuesdays, and Thursday with Loxa, as well as Job In and Dominic Miani's Business Development Roundtable every Thursday at noon. You can find us at YouTube at the Recruiter Roundtable and connect with us on LinkedIn at the Recruiter Roundtable. For topics, suggestions, questions, and just say hello, email us at therecruiterroundtable@gmail.com. And legal services for the Roundtable provided by the law offices of Dewey, Tatum, and Howell. Remember, this podcast may contain information is confidential, privileged, or unsuitable for overly sensitive person with low self-esteem, no sense of humor, or rational religious beliefs. You'd be happy to know that no animals were harmed in making this podcast, although the neighbor's dog is still on thin ice. Thanks again for being part of the Recruiter Roundtable. For Ernie Moreno and Kelly Nelson, I'm Tom Alashio. We'll see you next week on the Recruiter Roundtable. And until then, don't forget to smile and dial. We're out.
I just when I hear this whole conversation of firing somebody, it just reminds me of what